Welcome everyone. Today I have a new Summoners build guide with one of the highest tanking energy shield build that's possible. And looking over here, you can see our Chinese friend over here has over 19,000, close to 20,000 energy shield. So yes, due to popular requests, we'll be learning from Devilcat with his tanky summoner, which he was able to push for all the game contents and become super survivable with this particular setup. So how does this particular build work is that he will be stacking a lot of energy shield in combination with the summoning units, also combining with ways of amplifying his energy shield. You can see that his energy shield is close to 20,000 over here, which is actually very powerful and also very durable for a summoning character. Now, if you guys remember from the previous demonstration with Devilcat, he was able to demonstrate to us a very creative and also very durable energy shield build. And during the time of the demonstration, he was using Skeleton Arsenal together with still keeping some HP upkeep. After that, in some of his streams, he has changed into fully energy shield with Chaos Incarnation, which allows him to become immune to chaos damage. Together with the ability to stack close to 90% maximum fire resistance, this is one of the most tanky summoners builds I have found, and due to popular requests, yes, today we'll be learning with Devilcat to see how this build works, what are its strengths and what are its weakness, and how you can become unkillable with your summoners, no matter what summoner base class you play. You can be the Infernalist, you can be the German Legionnaire, you can even be the Chronomancer using similar setup, which is actually really good to look into how this can be built for a very durable summoner class using all the minions. Now in terms of the damage, the build compared to our sniper build will be a little short on damage. So what I do in this video is I have adjusted Devilcat's build a little bit to allow us to use snipers over the arsenals after the nerf, because this video from Devilcat was before the nerf, and after the nerf he has stated that the build felt a little weaker because he was using the arsenals. Now, for those of you that can read Chinese, Devilcat is actually an amazing content creator for Path of Exile 2. I do recommend watching and also learning from him for PoE 2, and he has provided us with the Excel over here with his trade links and also some of the crucial unique items you can use in early game, late game, and also mid-tier of the game. He has provided a lot of guides in Chinese and also his perfect skill tree. Now here I have additionally added his skill trees with the swapping of weapons, which allows you to get more skill trees and allocated more points for you guys for more clarity, which I'll explain on the second part, which will make you guys even stronger with the summoners. So one of the first part, or I guess one of the biggest highlight with Devilcat's build is his ability to look into some of the unique items that was quite nice and also interesting. Let's briefly go through some of the build's core unique items that can make you over or at 90% maximum fire resist, which is the highest we can stack. You can get 6 maximum fire resist over here with this Corruptor belt, and this also gives you a lot of fire resist. Together in combination, you can get close to 50% physical damage taken as fire damage, which you're already taking 90% maximum fire resist. This is also super durable if you want to become the super tank, but we'll talk about the trade-off with this chest. And of course over here, you can get another 6% maximum fire resist onto this shield, which is also super easy to find. Even if you don't have the currency, this shield usually comes with 5%, and the 1% is not worth the 1 divine. So the actual build is actually quite simple to make if you consider those cheap uniques. And finally, there's also Darkness Juice that gives you plus 1% maximum fire resistance to the socketed knots in the range. And this can allow you to easily have 5, 6, or even 7% maximum fire resist if you come over to this side. So coming over to our builder's guide, what you can notice is I have provided a few variations. You can see for the bossing setup, we'll be changing some of the skills with the skeleton snipers. And over here, we do have an easier setup for 90% fire resist for the super tanky setup using 3 unique items. And finally, for tier 16 to tier 18 tanky unkillable mapping, Devilcat has recommended just going with a unique belt that is enough, because he gets more stats coming from the chest and also coming from the focus, getting even higher energy shield. And as you can see in some of his videos, he can easily go over 19,000 energy shield and also even high energy shield as enemies die around him with Grim Fist. So firstly, let's dive into the choices of gears. As for the weapon, you can go with a base weapon that summons skeleton warriors or go with a weapon that uses malice. Both can work. And here I provided the variation of the skeleton warriors just in case you guys have skeleton warriors, but you can use the weapon with malice. You do want a +5 rank to all minions if you can, and also an increase of spirit if possible. And in terms of the chest, it is preferable, guys, if you find the expert summon, which will give you additional implicit spirit on top and also additional spirit. You want increased energy shield, maximal energy shield, and also any resistance or any stats you can find on the chest. Similarly, for the helmet, the focus, the gloves, and also the boots, we're always looking for maximal energy shield, increased energy shield, and any ways to get additional spirit. In order to get spirit onto the helmet, it has to be corrupted. Let me show you guys my current helmet. You can see on top there's an implicit with corruption plus 27 spirit. This can roll as high as 30. So you can't find it on the FX, but you can find it on the helmet. As for the focus, you want the one with the highest energy shield base, and getting additional energy shield is also good. Now, it might not be possible to find additional fire resist on the focus, which usually comes on the shield, so you can ignore the part of getting additional fire resist, because if you wanted additional maximum fire resist, the cheapest way is actually to come over to this shield, but this will reduce the amount of energy shield you have, so this is the catch. But if you're going with the focus, anything that is additional stat increase for dexterity, strength, or intelligence that's needed can also work over here. The gloves and also the boots are similar. For the boots, you want maximum movement speed, then maximum energy shield, and also any stats and also resistance. Now do keep in mind, guys, we're not getting chaos resistance because we'll be going with chaos invocation, which means we'll become immune to chaos damage and your HP is set to 1. Now, in the previous videos, when Devilcat was demonstrating his build, he did not get this point, but he mentioned that later in the later stage of the game, he realized that it is actually better to get CI, which means it just gives him much more survivability. So we'll be following on his latest update. So you do not need chaos resistance anywhere on your gears. This means you can get more rarity found for any of your rare gears, like the gloves over here. Additional resistance, additional intelligence can be good. Now, if you don't want to get stunned, you can get the Storm Charm. But if you're greedy, you can get the Gold Charm for additional rarity. And as for the sockets of the gems, over here I do want to mention, if you look at Devilcat's build and also his recommendations, he was using the Skeleton Arsonist, but after the nerf of the Skeleton Arsonist, he actually was not happy. And I'll show you guys the clip. He was really mad that they nerfed Skeleton Arsonist. He was summoning about 14 Arsonists, but they nerfed it in such a way he can only summon like 9 or 10. So he lost 3 summons because of that. So instead of playing the snipers or trying other summons, he actually decided to play the Stormwaver or play the Mercenary after that. So this is the reason that we have decided to go with Skeleton Snipers after the nerf of the Arsonist. You can still follow Devilcat with his Arsonist, but you can see the reason he stopped playing is because of the nerf to the Arsonist. So, briefly going over to the skill links over here. It is very similar to our usual sniper setup. This is going to be a physical sniper with Feeding Frenzy, Brutality, Martial Tempo, Heft, and also Chain, which means you can map very quickly. And if you're going for the boss, you're using a similar variant, but here, instead of using Chain, you'll be replacing this skill gem before the boss with Physical Mastery. Firewall is here to enhance the damage and also summon the Raging Spirits. We have Spell Cascade, Fortress, Arcane Tempo, and also Arcane Surge. The Raging Spirits are here to do Calling Strike, which is great damage as a bonus, and also disable enemies with Main, Blind, and also Discombobulate. Now, in terms of the summoning Infernal Hound, we're here to armor break enemies with Splinter, Heavy Swing, Demonisher, together with Fire Mastery and also Mini Mastery for additional health, additional durability, additional physical damage for armor breaking. Because we're running a physical team, we'll use Vulnerability, which is combined with Heightened Curse, Curse Ground, Inspiration, and also Ritualistic Curse if you have the additional slot. If you don't, this is not needed. Now, one of the main ways for the build to deal high damage is coming from Pain Offerings. So, Persistence, Obligation, Dance Macabre, and also Front of Rage. Nothing fancy, nothing too special. This is only a 5 link. You can get this one quite cheap if you corrupt it onto this one. Now, you can see the build actually works on capturing a lot of resistance. So here what I want to show you guys, notice that his resistance is not always constant. While in town, his resistance is 9,400. But once he goes into the battle and start killing enemies and collecting the residual of the little blue auras coming from Great Fist, this can actually double amount of the energy shield you have. So you can see him currently on close to 10,000 energy shield base, means he can get close to 20,000 energy shield because of this. So this is the biggest I guess, source of tankiness for the build while doing mapping. Now in terms of boss fight, the build with over 9000 energy shield is also super durable because he's also immune to chaos damage, almost immune to fire damage, and also a lot of damage is also converted into fire damage, which means he has close to 90% fire resistance. Now Green Fist over here only costs 30 reservation of spirit, which is also really good. We're not linking this to anything because it isn't anything great to link. Blink over here is a secondary skill which you can swap with a secondary weapon slot, and this means you don't have to have reservation. Now I'm sure some of you might be asking me, how come you have so many skeleton summons? There's Skeleton Force Mage, Skeleton Stone Mage, Skeleton Warriors, and there's a bunch of summons. So when do we use those? Those are the optional choices should you guys want to run an army of minions. So the preset of the build is when I'm using the 0 button build, which I just run around with my minions. I don't even press any buttons. But if you want to focus on the snipers, you can just run the snipers using this setup. If you have the warriors, if you want to the cleric, if you want the mages, all the mages, those are the setup, the best opportunity, and also best ways to synergistically have a full team of warriors, mages, cleric, and also stone mages with 2 summons each on your team. And this will require a lot of spirit. So one of the ways I was getting a lot of spirit is coming from this gem. But it is very hard for most players to get this gem because the prices went up from 20 divine to 30 or even 40 divine sometimes. So because of that, it is optional, guys. If you want to have additional summons, or if you just want to have the snipers, the build is ready for you to have a look at this. You do not have to have all the summons, and it works well with just the snipers. Now briefly coming over to our skill tree. You can see from the Devil Cat skill tree, I have adjusted a little bit because at the time, I don't think it had time to set up for the double weapon swap, which means a secondary skill set. I have also made and maxed a little bit all the way over here, as you can see with the skill points. So for the secondary curse setup, you'll be getting additional curse effect, additional curse durations, additional curse effect, and also better curse radius. For the main setup, you'll get additional weapon, additional critical chance with minions, additional critical, and also even higher minion damage. Now here is a special point that I perk over here purposely. Once you come over here, you can socket this gem, and this allows you to have the potential to use this darkness gem. If you find anything with bonus spirit on it, you can all of a sudden get anywhere close to like 40, 50 or even higher bonus as you perk into more of those knots just for the spirit. But on the other case, if you cannot afford that darkness gem, this gem also really boosts your survivability. Because here if you search for the keyword with maximum fire resistance, this gem will give you 1% maximum fire resistance per knot that is perked. So that means if you come back over to the skill trees, you can get 1, 2, 3, 4. You can even get more knots just for the fire resist if you want to go to 90% or resist with fire. In combination with the belt over here, which allows you to have higher fire resist, and also combining with about 40 to 49% physical damage reduction as fire, this build is one of the most tanky one for the summoners. So coming back to the skill tree, you can see a majority of the nodes here are focused on getting additional energy shield. Together with more energy shield, this is how he can stack even more maximum energy shield. And everywhere you go, you can get more maximum energy shield. Now in terms of the socketing choice for the Jews, because he is not needing to stack more maximum mana like us to get additional damage on kills, you can get any of the minions percentage damage increase, you can get any of the minions additional critical rate, you can get additional minion critical damage. So anything that enhance your minions damage will be great. It's not the best choice for me to show you my gems because they only get the one red effects with minion increased damage. I'll have the filters available should you guys want to have a look at some of the things you can get. You don't really need minion accuracy. From what I heard from our viewers, minion accuracy comes naturally as you get higher skill levels with your minions. Now, one of the latest adjustments coming from Devil Cat stream is that he has perk into Chaos Incubation, and this particular passive allows you to turn your life to 1 and becomes immune to chaos damage. There's a lot of benefits in this because when picking gears, you no longer need chaos resistance. And also over here, because physical damage is also converted to chaos damage at 20%, you become immune to 20% of the physical damage, which as you're going to see with the gears, there's another 40% reduction of physical damage if you pick the unique chest over there as well. So this is a very powerful node when you're going with an energy shield build for any of the class. So yes, the best way to look at the skill passives is coming over to the builder's guide in the links below. I think that'll be the easiest way. And of course guys, don't forget there are a number of variations. The first two variations are some of the recommendation coming from DevilCat, and you can see the third variation is that if you want to try something that is more cheaper with the setup with unique items, you will have less energy shield, but you'll be very durable in terms of physical defense and also in terms of fire resistance. This setup easily takes you to 90% fire resist and also over 60% physical resist. So 40% physical damage is converted to fire. And don't forget guys, with our skill passive, with Ascension, we also gain additional physical and also elemental damage conversion into chaos damage because we're immune to chaos. So we're immune to additional 20% physical damage because we're immune to chaos damage. And finally, we also have 20% damage reduction from lightning and also cold, which is very powerful. Now here I do want to mention, DevilCat has mentioned the downside of using this build with the Infernalist is that he's not going to benefit from any of those major nodes most of the time, simply because, well, the critical chance is not here to do critical chance. So Hound is good, this one is good, but after the second Ascension, all the points here with maximum life and also Spirit Reservation and even maximum mana is not helpful. The downside of playing this particular setup with the Infernalist is at the moment he can't enjoy those nodes as much as the build with additional HP, and this can be a small drawback. Now coming over to the skill rotations and the tips for this build. While majority of the time for this build, it is very smooth sailing. As long as you mainly have enough damage to kill enemies, you'll be picking up additional Remnant, which gives you additional energy shield. This allows you to really boost your energy shield throughout mapping, and this is incredibly durable and incredibly survivable, especially if you have so much elemental resist with viruses and also immune to chaos damage. So a lot of the damage over time with poison, burning ground, you're immune to those. And I do believe burning ground is fire damage, right? I know that the chaos damage is coming from poison as well. So in that sense, you're very good against a lot of different mobs. And when playing with friends that provide you with additional buffs or playing by yourself, you're still very survivable. And this is the biggest highlight for the build. And the ability to use additional cheap unique items means you can stack even higher fire resist using darkness jewels and also using different items. And this does make the summoner feels like the best tank for the team while keeping your minions alive while staying in the front line like this. Notice that his maximum energy shield is close to 20,000. Now before I finish the video, I do want to remind you guys there is a small drawback of this particular build, is that compared to the raw damage numbers, it won't be as high. Well, we can't have the best of both worlds. If you're building for super resistance, maximum survivability like DevilCat over here, your damage will be a little lower. So for certain contents you can see over here, sometimes it takes us 5 or 4 seconds to take down this particular Uber boss. For DevilCat here, it will take a little longer. This is the trade-off. So should you want the highest damage build, we do have a sniper build that deals way more damage but can be a little more squishy. But due to popular requests, we are also looking at more tanky build to keep you guys alive, to level higher, and also just to have a good time as the ultimate tank for the summoners. So before we finish, a big thank you for DevilCat for sharing this one. And yes, if you can speak Chinese, I do recommend following him on Twitch and also on YouTube because he provides a lot of good PoE2 content. A little unfortunate guys, he has stopped playing the summoners simply because the nerf just broke his heart. And I will show you the clip that the day they broke him. So after that, he hasn't updated his build further. So this is why you can see I have attempted to path out his build following stream and also adjusting the build a little bit without arsonist, because he mentioned that the build is just not good. It's tanky but not great with arsonist. This is why I'm using snipers in the builder's guide. Now before we finish, if you guys haven't subscribed, this is a really good time to do so because I'll be looking into the latest Path of Exile 2 news on different communities and also on our official forum, official webpage. I'll also be looking into the best build for each of the class as the meta develops with the Chinese and also the English community. So stay tuned for the latest update and also guides for Path of Exile 2. And of course, this is gonna be a big month for us. And I'll try to bring you guys all of the latest content and also guides for Path of Exile 2 to come.